Bash Bros movies, and this is the video we've been dude, I've been planning this video since last year, but unfortunately
Did you ever release the top 10 sports movie list?
I was gonna do that end of April, beginning of May.
We're gonna need to tape like a disclaimer for it, saying that it has been like 3 years since we taped that video.
It's been almost a year, but anyways, we've been waiting to do this video as well for at least a year or so, and we couldn't have done it because
you've been waiting. I didn't wait for nothing.
Dude, listen, Pixar movies are probably the next best thing ever since Disney. So, and even though Disney now owns it, they still make great movies nonetheless, and they've been making them for what, 15, 25, 20 years?
Yeah, 20 years. Toy Story came out in
95, so it's almost 25 years, I guess. So, yeah. And listen, all the movie, I mean, Pixar has a big slate of movies. It's less 19. Than 20. Yeah, it's less than 20.
A few in the works, but 19 came out.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm really looking forward to what they got set up for us in the future. But let's look at the past and see what were the best 10 movies Pixar ever made. In our opinion, of course.
Another disclaimer though, we just made this list up right like
no, not really,
5 minutes ago. Well, yeah, we did. We wrote them up 5 minutes ago.
Kind of.
You made two lists, one recently and one 5 minutes ago, and they're not the same. I'm just saying
it's a little bit different, I think. It's only like...
These lists would have been different had we properly prepared for it.
Yeah, we've been kind of slacking, but listen, our schedules have been hectic, different, just to, you know, just to organize two of ourselves sitting here in the same room on next to each other. It's been, you know, it hasn't been easy, so let's do this. Let's do the top 10 Pixar movies. So we're not gonna do any honorable mentions.
Here's the thing, everything that didn't, excluding Monsters University. Yeah, it's good. Excluding Monsters University and Finding Dory. Every movie that is not on a top 10 list is an honorable mention because it's Pixar.
Yeah, pretty much.
And those are only two movies that are just like...
meh.
I think Pixar dropped the ball on those.
And we didn't put Planes on our list, and I would say that both Planes movies are pretty good and watchable and enjoyable, and I think they deserve an honorable mention. So,
and Planes 2 is really good.
Yeah, it's an homage. It's not just a sequel, it's an homage to firemen, police officers, you know, people who...
Public servants who kind of
risk their lives.
Unappreciated these days.
Yeah, and I think it was a pretty good sequel too. So, I know a lot of people...
Cars too.
Listen, Planes, Fire and Rescue is a pretty solid sequel, and I think a lot of people... it's an underrated franchise and a sequel, and
well, here's the thing. Planes first show up in Mater's Tall Tales.
Yeah.
The short version where Mater learns how to fly, even though he's a tow truck.
Mater does a lot of things.
Yeah. Basically, and from that we got Planes, which basically followed the footprint of the first Cars, I think.
Yeah, they fit in the same universe, I would say. So
I think so. But Cars and Planes were pretty similar movies as far as the plot goes.
Yeah.
You had a race going on, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, the first movie is a race, and it's a pretty solid
And then
flick.
while the Cars 2 went James Bond route, Planes 2 went like, let's honor the firefighters, let's honor the... So, and in today's day and age, you can see how they can go unappreciated. But it's in no way a bad movie.
Definitely. And speaking of bad movies, I would say that WALL-E, as much as it is praised and acclaimed, is a pretty bad movie, in my opinion.
I watched it once.
I don't like that movie one bit. I like the animation in it. I like a few of the characters, but that movie, I think it's...
And let's not even go into the whole cannibalism movie.
Yeah. yeah. Let's not go into all the cannibalism of it because it is. There's a fan theory out there. Look it up. Let's go. We have the same movie at our number 10 spot, and it's Cars 3. And
Right.
we've been waiting for this one for a few years. And when the trailer
What?
showed up,
They didn't release much. They gave you the whole a crash happened. There's a new rookie. Blah blah blah. What's gonna happen?
it's basically
and
Ivan Drago meets Rocky in Rocky 4. It's pretty much in modern
But one
age.
thing that was very apparent was that Cars were going back to the roots
Yeah.
of what was Cars 1 after the James Bondish.
Let's
Cars
not even
2.
mention that. Yeah.
Cars 3 was finally gonna take us back to the racing part. Like
Yeah.
it was gonna, and you were like, okay, where are they gonna take you? What are they gonna do with this? You know, McQueen is gonna crash. You know, he's gonna try to come back, and
Yeah.
what's gonna happen out of the comeback, especially with the new generations of racing. And they did like a nice homage to Paul Newman's character, the fabulous Hudson Horner as
Yeah.
well. But the whole movie, here's the thing, because Cars isn't on my list.
It is on mine later on.
And I had to, if I had to pick, and
That's why I didn't mention it
Yeah,
as an
and
honourable mention because it is
the
on
thing
my list.
is,
We're
like,
gonna
I was
talk
trying
about
to
it.
figure out to put Cars
for Cars 3.
on
Yeah,
it.
because they have a similar story.
And they had the stories are so similar that it's really hard. It was, you know, I was like, so I went with Cars 3 just because I watched it most recently, but
Yeah.
and I think I prefer it just a bit more than Cars.
I don't know.
Not a
man.
lot.
I think
But
dude,
watching
you can
it-
watch them back to back.
Oh
I
yeah,
think, but,
no.
and you can
yeah.
skip the second one too,
Oh, yeah.
since there's
Yeah.
no mention. So yeah, it is a few years after the second movie.
Yeah,
too,
at this
and
point, you know, McQueen's already a veteran racer. He's
Yeah.
got a bunch of piston cups. There's new cars coming in that are more aerodynamic, stronger engines, blah blah blah, whatever.
And he needs to figure out a way to come back from his injury. He needs to go visit his physical therapist, you know, go to the trainings and work that injury off. And he meets his trainer, who is also secretly a racer, but she
Well,
doesn't
she
know
wants-
it.
Yeah,
But it's something she's been wanting to do, but
but
because of
everybody
her,
told her because she's a woman, she couldn't.
yeah, because she comes
There's
from
a whole
Mexico.
backstory
where-
there,
yeah.
and just but the whole thing, you know, and the you know, spoilers, the switch at the end when he's halfway through the race, he's like, yeah.
Yeah, it's a pretty solid flick and very
Yeah.
enjoyable. What you got at your number 9? I think it's,
The mouse that learns how to.
yeah, we're gonna talk about that later on then. 'Cause
Higher
it's
on the
higher
list.
on my list. I got Up on my number 9. It's not on your spot. Listen, Up is one of those movies that first 5 or 10 minutes of it is gonna make you cry. I don't care who you are,
Oh yeah.
how hard your heart is.
But at the same time, while I did enjoy the rest of the movie, when the highlight of your movie is in the first 5
10
minutes,
yeah,
it's just, you know, it can't be much higher on the list. That's why I didn't
I
even
was
put it
thinking-
on the list,
I
because
was
it was very
thinking
hard.
where-
And I know many people are going to say, well, Up is better than most of the movies that you put on the list.
yeah.
Well, in your opinion, probably it is.
Yeah, and I was debating whether to put even Coco on the list because even that, as much as Coco's, it's a sweet movie, it's a beautiful movie, but at the same time it has these things that drive me nuts. Some of these cliches.
Well, we're going
and
to talk about Coco when we
stereotypes.
get to Coco, but talking about...
We're not gonna get to Coco at all on my list. I don't know if it's
not
on your list.
Not on mine.
So I was debating whether to put Up or Coco at number 10, but you know what, I went, because Cars 3 is a sequel, I decided to put it on number 10.
Because usually
And-
sequels
Yeah, and
tend to go
I
down.
went with,
and
and Up is such a fine tale of this young boy. It's kind of Back to the
you
Future.
probably know what Up is at this point.
Yeah, definitely.
And you also know that everybody cries when they watch Up. The thing is, they cry at the beginning
of the movie, yeah.
The rest of the movie is nice. The rest of the movie is a nice.
It's a nice adventure.
It's a nice adventure.
It's a very nice,
It's Pixar.
yeah.
So it's not bad. But they outdid themselves so much at the beginning that the rest of the movie does not stack up to the first 10 minutes.
I don't know, man, because a lot of the first 10 minutes has to do with the rest of the movie. when he goes on that adventure with the flying house, I mean the balloons, it's pretty cool. And
but the love story at the beginning, it's basically it's one thing. You mentioned Nump, everybody's thinking the love story at the beginning.
Could have been a short. If they made that the short, like it would have been fine. So, and if they decided to turn like that short into a movie, I think the rest of the app would have been that movie, and I think it would have maybe even been better. Maybe. I don't know, but yeah, it's
It is, like we said, at this point, Pixar made 19 movies with Incredibles 2 coming out, and I don't know what else is coming out. So that's 19 movies, so you don't have a lot of wiggle room. If it's not in the top 10, it's
Toy
probably
Story 4 is in the making. Which I don't know how I'm gonna feel about, because I don't know. We'll see. Anyways, that's Up. Your number 8 is different than mine. Yeah, I talk about it because it's not on my list at all. That movie to me was okay. I like the way
that's why it's number 8 on the list.
I like the way they portray emotions, but other than that,
I love the story plot. I love the whole emotions aspect of it, because this is usually something that's not portrayed in the movies.
True.
Here you saw how the feelings go around. You saw the backstory.
In Tom and Jerry, they used to be an angel and a little demon, and so that's usually how emotions were portrayed.
Exactly. Here, Pixar went deeper and showed you, like, okay, what happens behind the core, you know.
Yeah.
And of course, the main story kind of takes
place.
Well, the main story, but the plot of it happens, of course, with the emotions. The story that happens in real life kind of takes a backseat to the emotions part, which is something that I really like. I like to dive deep into the characters, and you can't go any deeper than the emotions.
Yeah, to me it was just a silly girl, you know, she's moving and so she's moody. And
that's why that takes backseat.
Yeah,
because
it just didn't appear. I would have liked it if it was a little bit better, you know, it just like...
Hence number 8.
Hence number 8. Okay, my number 8 is Nemo. What's yours?
Nemo's number 7 for me.
Okay, we can talk about Nemo then. Finding
What's
Nemo,
your number 7?
It's Cars.
Okay.
Listen, Finding Nemo is one of those fish movies that you don't see come.
No.
Because the track is always lit. But listen, I don't know what I did there, but just spewing nonsense as I usually do. Listen, Finding Nemo is one of those movies that I've seen way too many times. I know it by heart, you know, I know exactly what's gonna happen next, and just watching that adventure over and over again is pretty spectacular. Always fun, always interesting, always scary, and always entertaining. You know, fish are friends, not food, which is something I actually live by, although I don't consider fish friends of mine. So
I will call you
mine, yeah. And that's where we first meet Dory, and you know, it also has a, you know, mother dying at the beginning of the movie. It's not necessarily a love story, but they just had this, you know...
Well, it's not like she died on purpose.
Well, yeah, I mean, she got eaten by a barracuda. So, you know, good way to, you know, it's a good way to go, you know? I mean, if you're a fish.
It's quick, you know?
If you're a fish. If you're a human being, I don't think you want to be eaten by a barracuda, okay?
I think it takes too long, you know?
Definitely. I think piranhas do the job way faster, but you know, Finding Nemo...
I mean, if I had to pick, I'd go with like big ass shark, you know?
Dude, I don't know, man. I don't know.
Well, it's quicker, you know?
I don't know if it's quicker. It's more painful.
I don't know, if it eats your head off first, you're good.
Yeah, but your brain's still alive for 8 seconds. I mean... You know,
and this is not what Nemo is about, man.
No, man, it's about a father and son bonding. You know, they have this relationship that's kind of strained, and
well, here's the thing.
son runs away because he feels.
When your wife and like 800 kids or however they got gets eaten by a barracuda, the one that kind of survives,
you want to keep.
You're gonna be extra careful about it.
Yeah,
you know?
Especially if that kid that's left has a disability with a smaller fin, but turns out, you know, just because his fin is smaller doesn't mean he can't keep up with the other kids or fish, and that's what this movie is about. It's about father and son finding, you know, that thing that, you know...
That bonds them.
That bonds them, yeah. And the movie's all about that, man, and it's a pretty fun adventure, so... Never mind the seagulls, though. They're the biggest pain in the butt you've ever seen. So.
Mine.
What did you say was your number 7?
And the rewatchability factor of Nemo is probably one of the highest of any Pixar movies.
One of the definitely.
One of the, like, if you want to rate him by rewatchability,
Definitely.
this is one of those that you can literally, because this is what we did, like we rewatched it multiple times.
Yeah.
And it never gets old, even though by like third viewing you know everything.
Yeah.
By heart, it's still like, yeah, you can still watch it.
Yeah. Definitely, man. What's your number 7? Mine's Cars. And you said you didn't have
Number
any.
7 was Nemo.
Okay, so I'm gonna talk about Cars because yours is different, and then we're gonna talk about the movie that you
Because
already
this is
mentioned.
number 6.
Yeah. But
So, because
let's-
Nemo was 7 for me,
Yeah.
so Cars
Cars
is
is
7.
7 for me, and listen, we already talked about Cars. First time I watched Cars, like the first thing that comes to mind is not just racing, but just the way the movie is made and the way it portrays this world of cars that that they're living in is pretty spectacular. Music's great too.
And here's the thing
and
about
movies
music in Cars movies.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Cars 3, Planes and Planes 2. They have, for Pixar movies, I think they have the best soundtrack. As far as it goes, how it
Yeah.
fits into the movie.
Yeah, definitely. With
Because-
Sheryl Crow and the Rascal Flatts.
Well,
and
actually, the staple of them is Brett Paisley.
That was, yeah.
Because he was in all 4 of them, and the way that they pull it off, but soundtrack in all of them is such a big
And
part
this movie
of the
was
story.
made as an homage, to the way people used to travel back in the 60s and 50s and even 70s. And the way that's changed later on because of all the highways. And this isn't just in US, people used to do that
Oh, yeah,
here. They would
yeah.
go on, weekend trips for 2 days, come back, they'd go
You took a
Friday
drive.
night.
Everything was
yeah.
slower back in the day.
Everything,
Now everything's
everything.
just speed up. Everything's
And
fast.
yeah,
Everything
this is a
on the go.
movie that definitely, it's made for American audience. It's made with Route 66 in mind, but anybody anywhere can relate to it in some shape
Oh,
or
yeah.
form. And then we get this story about this race car that gets lost in this, in middle of nowhere, pretty much, and
Hotshot racer.
hotshot race car, yeah. And he has a big attitude problem that needs some adjusting, and he's in for it. And the characters we meet in this little town, they're colorful characters. They're all kinds of different characters. We got Ramon and his wife Flo are different, and there's Sarge, and then what's the hippie I forgot his name, but yeah, and there's Mater, who's like, I don't know, man. People think don't like him all that much because he's kind of, what's the word, stereotypical. But to me, Mater's like the best friend I'd want to have. So, like, if I were
He's the guy
McQueen,
who's gonna stick with you.
yeah, he's loyal friend. He's loyal
You know.
to the end, and he'll stick by you. And even when nobody else believes in you. And that's the kind of friend you want to have. And if it takes a redneck, rusty old tow truck to be that guy or that best friend, why not, man? Why not?
Fillmore.
Fillmore, yeah, Fillmore. So yeah, and
Paul
then there's
Newman, man.
as
The fabulous
Hudson
Hornet.
Hornet, yeah, and damn, man, and the
Next
story
driver
behind that
himself.
character, yeah, and the story behind that character, and the way we see that story kind of continue in Cars 3, and how that story was the foundation for Cars 3. I think those two movies, and even the second movie, you know what? The second movie is all about, McQueen being angry at Mater, and Mater being a
No,
true
the second
friend.
one is all about Mater.
Definitely.
Because I was like, okay, what if Mater
But it's about
was-
his friendship with McQueen, and we get to see good parts and bad parts of that friendship, and even their friendship takes this dive into who knows what, and Mater wants to save
I
it,
think
even
we
when
watched
McQueen
Cars
doesn't.
2 in different ways.
Dude, listen, I just choose to find things that speak to me and that are good, instead of looking at all the bad stuff that
And
happens in that
if he
movie.
doesn't find them, he'll just make them up.
I didn't make anything up.
I never said
What's your number 6? Is it number 6?
It's number 6.
Okay, my number 6 is your number 9. I think, or number 8, Ratatouille.
Yeah, my number 89.
Yeah, you know what? Ratatouille. Let's talk about Ratatouille. It's different. It's unique.
You know, when you find
not
out
your
that
typical
Pixar is making a movie about a rat who likes to cook in France,
in Paris.
and you're like, okay, I'm intrigued. I want to see how this actually looks. How does a rat cook?
Yeah.
Because, you know, you have rats who obviously, you know, they scavenge around, you know,
They're
pick up
they're
garbage.
dirty. Yeah, they're dirty creatures. They're dirty animals.
They, you know, they contaminate, they, you know, carry the plague.
Yeah, I was just gonna say they carry the black plague, man.
So you don't want them in the kitchen at any point.
No, man, you don't want
anyhow,
them in the kitchen.
you know?
No way.
And it's like, so you have rats who collect garbage, and then you have a rat who actually likes to cook.
Remy.
Then you have the humans who like to cook, and a wannabe chef who can cook.
Not
And-
if his life depended on it, and it kind of
Exactly.
does at one point, if I remember correctly.
And they kind of find each other, and they figure out they can work together to make the finest dishes
Ever made, yeah. And that will take you back in time to when you were a little kid if you just try them out, because
And
everyone
then,
can
you know,
cook.
then you had the hardcore critic, you know, who
And-
basically a rat brings out everything in him with food. It's a fun movie to watch, man.
And you can watch it over and over again. The love story in this movie is also fabulous and fun to watch.
And the way the whole rat's family kind of turns around, helps them out in the kitchen in the end, even though rats do not belong in the kitchen.
Yeah.
And it's just the whole aspect of it. Just, yeah.
It's a fun movie that has a... It puts you in Paris, and if my girl's watching this, she's probably already freaking out and wants to, you know... She studies French, so I'm
So does your
mispronouncing...
sister.
Dude, listen, I'm definitely, my pronunciation is definitely making someone's head spin because it's so
Just
bad.
say Paris. Paris.
Paris.
Paris.
Yeah, that's Ratatouille, man. I love this movie,
Yeah.
and it's one of the Pixar best.
It is. It is. It
It
is.
deserves top. I would put it higher, but you know what?
It's
The way
hard.
this,
At this
the way
point,
this
it's
chart works, you can't go any higher with the Ratatouille because
just because there's movies that are on top of it, you can't top them.
no way, man. What's your number 5?
My number 6.
She's yeah.
My number 6 is Brave.
That's not on my list.
And here's the thing, usually Disney princesses are done by Disney, not by Pixar.
True that.
So this was a little bit
Different.
different. This was a twist to the usual way princesses works. And I think we did like, you know,
Top 10
so,
Disney movies.
yeah,
And we
a
talked
couple
about
of
it.
princesses made it on there. And I was
Definitely,
like,
yeah.
I wanted to put Brave on there, but it turned out it was a Pixar movie.
Yep.
I'm okay with basically any movie Disney makes. I like certain princesses, certain I hate, you know. But Brave kind of stuck out as far as the story, as far as the characters go, as far as the setting goes. It was a little bit different than when Pixar put its own twist to the tale.
Yeah. Turned her mom into a bear.
Usually something happens to the princess. Here they kind of twisted it up, changed it up a little bit.
I mean, talk about
And-
Frozen. I mean, which is like you get this, you know, princess turning into whatever, man, and whatever.
Here
Mom turns into a bear, man. I mean, come on.
And then she's supposed to marry into a clan to, you know, to join up the community, you know. It's just a fun movie. As far as...
Triplets are the funnest part of that
Exactly. As far as princesses go, I could actually wall this one up to like number 2.
movie. After Belle?
Not the movie version of the Bell.
No.
But, and it could be a strong contender to actually take Belle as my favorite princess.
Really?
Just as far as the whole movie.
Merida the Brave, huh?
Merida the Brave.
Cool. So the Six of Brave is your number 6.
Yup.
Okay. What's your number 5?
My number 5 is
your number 3.
Well,
So let's-
So my number 5 is your number 4.
Okay.
And your number 5 is my number 3.
So let's talk about them then. Let's talk
Alright.
about Monsters Incorporated first, and then we can talk
Alright.
about my number 4 because
your number 4 is my number 5.
yeah. So Monsters Incorporated.
I pushed them up to number 3. It could not go higher. There's like no way you can put it higher than 3.
I was very
and even
skeptical
3
about this
was a
movie.
stretch.
I was very skeptical about this movie. I was like, how are you gonna make Monsters Under the Bed fun? How are you gonna make that movie interesting at all? How are you gonna even, connect the dots and whatever? And you know what? When I watched this movie, a few years after it came out, like few years, I really took my time getting to this movie.
I think I took longer.
I think so. Yeah, I think so.
I took longer because I was really skeptical about it.
Yeah,
And then I watched it and I was like, did not see that coming.
Did not see it coming. It was
At
so
all.
fun, so entertaining, and the story, man, it just keeps you on your toes. And I was like, is this gonna be like a horror cartoon? And it's not at all at any point.
Nothing about
I mean,
it.
it has a scary villain, one of the best Pixar villains ever. I mean, I would put this dude right next to Sid from Toy Story 1. But because their villains are just not that villainy, so to speak.
Yeah,
Even
I mean, they're just nastier.
even
than,
Syndrome ain't all that villainy, even though he is. So to me, this is like has one of the best Pixar villains ever.
I would agree with you.
And and so it's like the way they put monsters inside your closet, and the way they connect it to the real world, and how their world works compared to ours, and how different it all is, and the kid getting lost inside that world, like little baby, what, 2 years old or something like that.
They're having the monsters be afraid of the baby
babies,
because they
yeah.
heard about babies. They're all
Yeah,
like,
if your baby touches you, you're dead, you're goner, but it's not what happens. And if you haven't seen the movie, we're not gonna spoil it for you. It's definitely worth a watch, and a few
don't
rewatches.
focus on the monster part just because it goes so much deeper than
Yeah,
it's like
and the
monsters in
character
your closet.
development with the
It's just
and the
crazy.
voice work on this movie, man. It's absolutely
Now, Monsters
superb.
University, you don't have to bother with. Not that good, not that fun. Monsters Incorporated,
Yeah, that's the
it will
movie you want
surprise
to
you.
watch.
It
Yeah.
will surprise you because you do not see it coming. It's a tale different than, you kind of picture it differently, and then you see it, and it's like, okay.
I did not see that coming. That was way better than I thought it would be.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that's Monsters Incorporated. It's number 5 on my list. It's
Number
number 3
three on
on
mine.
yours. But yeah,
My number 5 is the Pixar's take on superheroes.
yeah, that's my number 4 is The Incredibles. And when this movie came out, I was like, okay, Pixar's doing the superhero thing. We've already seen Fantastic Four so many times. What else? What can they do different? And they kind of do everything different. Not just with the
They do.
superpowers,
Well,
which
with the
aren't
general
like
world,
yeah.
that's it.
But there's the Elastic Girl and the guy with the super strength. But they're kids. The kids has super speed and the invisibility, and it really is like Fantastic Four, but it's so much different. And then there's the Frozone. Voiced by Samuel L. Jackson, and Syndrome, and all the superheroes dying and then kind of being outlawed, and kind of what happens afterwards. Like the whole thing is set up in like what, 30s, 40s or something, 50s?
I can't remember. It doesn't really matter.
It doesn't really tell you, because it tells you it's before cell phones. So, and even before, computers. Even though I think there are, I don't know, man, but it's like in this weird timeline, and they go into hiding. I mean, it's weird.
Well, they had to. Something happens.
Yeah.
I can't remember.
And-
I had to rewatch it.
Yeah, but basically Syndrome comes out, and he wants to be the next superhero, but in order to do that, you need a villain, and he puts it upon himself, I'm gonna be the villain, so all the superheroes can come out and be back again, because that's the world we need to live in. Where superheroes are real.
I don't think that's how they went, but alright.
Dude, dude, okay, it's
Nah.
the way...
You see, this is what happens in his head. He just interprets things his own way.
Dude, I have a weird way of looking at world, so that's what
in
makes me
case you
unique.
didn't know, now you know.
Yeah,
I knew and now I know, man.
yeah.
But yeah, it's a fun movie.
Yeah, it's ultimately
Definitely.
rewatchable.
Yes.
Some would say it's the best Fantastic Four movie ever made, even though it's not technically a Fantastic Four movie. But definitely one of the best superhero animated movies ever made. Even movies at all. Even when you look at if you compare it to some live action movies, this one stacks up pretty close. I mean, we did the top 10 comic book movies, but we didn't do superhero movies.
Yeah.
So it's definitely there. I mean, yeah, The Incredibles and my number 4 and your number 5.
Yes.
Okay. So if you've seen
How
Pixar,
can two? Okay.
what?
I'm looking at your top 3. I'm not sure why you put 1, 2, 3 instead of 1, 3, 2.
Dude, listen, the movie that started it all, and I mean, we can talk about basically.
Here's the thing.
You can't
Top 3
I-
movies, Pixar movies. Okay, my number 4 is Toy Story 2. For him, it's Toy Story 1, Toy Story 2, Toy Story
Story
3.
3,
For
yeah.
me, it's Toy Story 1, 3, and then 2.
Yeah,
Monsters Incorporated, I put at number 3 before
Toy Story 2.
Toy Story 2. But Toy Story basically takes top 3 spots.
Listen, it's the first movie that basically took the world by storm. I remember watching this in cinema, man, when it first came out. It was me, you, our mom took us with a few of our friends, maybe a cousin. I can remember, it was a bunch of us who were watching this movie, and you know, every kid dreams of his toys being alive. I mean, that's how we play with our toys. That's
And
how
then you actually see it on screen.
then you actually see it on screen in that superb 3D animation that, I mean, just brings all toys to life. Not just with the story, but just the way they're made, you know, with the T-Rex.
Visually.
Yeah, and Woody, you know, the cowboy,
And Buzz.
and Buzz Lightyear, and Ham, and Potato Head, you know. Dude, this movie, I mean, and Sid, who's the villain, and then the story with the Buzz Lightyear and Woody and their friendship, and then them getting lost and having to work the things out between them. You know, they have to work out their differences because Woody is Andy's favorite toy.
Until Buzz comes.
Until Buzz comes along, and he thinks Buzz is gonna take up the spot.
At this point, we're not even supposed to tell you what Toy Story is about. You should know what it is.
Yeah, definitely. If you've never seen these movies, I don't know what you've been waiting for. I know there's people out there who don't watch animated movies.
But
I don't know
you
why.
need to see out,
There
man.
is
You
so
need to
much
see
you can say with
Because Toy
animation.
Story is like the... I don't know how many movies Pixar is gonna make in like next 50 years or whatever. But I think even then, at the end of those 50 years, I think Toy Story is still gonna be the best movie.
Definitely, man. Definitely.
Like even if they end up making better movies, this one's gonna be like the ultimate. This is like the one that started it all. This is the one that...
It's the
ultimately
first time
is
they not only got it right, they got it perfect. Like nobody can ever do something like that ever again. I mean, if they do, fine. But at this point, I don't see that happening because even Disney failed on so many levels with different things.
But Toy Story, Pixar, this is before Pixar was part of Disney.
Yeah.
And
This
they
is the
came
movie
out of
that
nowhere,
made
they
Disney
came out,
buy out Pixar. So yeah.
and it was just like... It's Toy Story. I mean,
Yeah.
there's not really much you can talk about it. It's
Yeah.
Toy Story.
It's basically toys coming to life and working out their differences and trying to be toys while, you know, keeping their relationships alive, trying to pass the time when the kid's not around, when he's off at school or at the, as in the, we saw in the second movie when he's off at the summer camp. And things happen when the kid is at summer camp, you know, this evil...
Like yard sales.
Yeah, yard sales happen and toys get sold to collectors and who want to sell those toys to the museums.
And
And
Hal opens a toy bar. Everything for a buck.
and you know, seeing Wayne Knight, you know, I mean, hearing that voice and seeing the animated character he's portraying, you know, is like I instantly recognize the voice from Seinfeld. You can't
like not recognize Newman.
Yeah,
Just
Newman is
now.
one of those guys you instantly recognize in any way, shape, or form. Pun always intended when it's even when it's not intended, because he has a form and he has a shape and he has this voice that you instantly can't miss it, man. You can't. It's one of the best voices I ever heard.
Well, Toy Story 1 takes you into the whole Woody's trying to
Work out.
save Buzz after he stabs in the back.
And not only that, trying to be the Andy's favorite toy, most favorite toy. They work things out in the end, but in Toy Story 2, it's
The situation is reversed.
Yeah,
It's-
toys need to go on a rescue mission to save Woody from the evil toy collector who wants to sell Woody to the toy museum in Tokyo, Japan. And that's just not gonna happen. We need to do something.
And then you have the whole subplot of Woody trying to figure out
what he wants to
what
do.
he wants. Does he wants to stay behind the glass
in a museum.
in a museum and never be played with again,
or
or be played with?
again. Over
So
and
he
over
has
again.
to make that
until Andy
choice.
grows up. And that brings us to the Toy Story 3, which is basically when Andy grows up. He's finished high school, he's off to college, he's packing things up, he's bringing some stuff with him, but his toys are gonna stay behind. And only his most favorite toys that survived are gonna stay at home or come with him.
Locked up in a closet.
Yeah, and for
Until they end up in a donation box and they get donated to
somebody else to play with. And
well, they end up in a, what was it, the
junkyard.
kindergarten.
Yeah, at one point, yeah, they end up in kindergarten, and it's not as
What's
pretty
the
as
name
they.
of the bear?
I'll remember. People. I can't remember.
Yeah, me neither.
I can't remember, but they think because we were donated to the kindergarten where we're gonna be played with all the time. It's not a pretty situation, you know. Kids do stuff with.
There's a hierarchy that goes on there. You can't really be.
And not only
played,
that,
you know.
they get misplaced. Like instead of being given to the 3-year-olds and 4-year-olds and 5-year-olds, they're given to the infants.
Lots of the bear.
Lots of the bear, yeah. They're given to infants, and it turns
Wrong
out.
age group and such.
Yeah, very, very wrong age group for these toys that have survived for like what? Let's say 18 years. Let's assume Andy's 18, okay? Because he's off to college, he's finished high school. Let's assume he didn't flunk a year or two in high school, that he was a good student. Because he seems
Well,
like
it depends on when he got him.
he seems like a pretty normal kid to me.
Yeah,
so,
at this point, the toys are at least 10 years old.
at least. And so they need to escape from this kindergarten, and it's a whole operation, and somehow they end up in a junkyard. At one point they're gonna, you know, burn, like literally burn. It's like one of the most saddest, it's like the saddest point in the movie, maybe even Pixar movies of all time. Like even first 5 minutes of Up can't compare to this, because we've been living with these toys for like 15 years.
The incinerator scene at the end is just...
It's heart-wrenching. Heart-wrenching.
Toys are holding hands,
And
they're about to be incinerated, and then Rex saves them, and they end up in Bonnie's house at the end. I think it's Bonnie at the end, and
Yeah, Bonnie.
Bonnie is what we're gonna see in Toy Story 4.
Yeah, and at the end of that movie, Andy kind of hands off his toys to Bonnie and says, "You can play with these toys. I'm giving them to you. I'm not gonna play with them." And because these toys need to be played with. Man, I'm crying already, because that is one of the most gut-wrenching endings ever. To me, it should have ended there. To me, it should have ended there. The Toy Story 4 should not be named Toy Story 4. It should be named something else. Name it Toy Story if you want to, but call it, you know, a continuing story or continuing adventures or
Well, they
something
did the
like
first three, never had the subtitle, you know, it was always the numbers.
I know, but
So,
they
you
should
know,
have put the numbers, man.
It's a 4, and it's like...
Dude, I'm
here's
crying,
the thing
man,
with,
just thinking about that
here's
ending,
the thing
man.
with Toy Story. Pixar might have gotten certain sequels wrong.
Cars 2, we're looking at you.
Yeah, and Monsters
And Finding Dory. Yeah, yeah. And let's not call
But-
Monsters University a sequel, since it's a prequel technically.
Yeah, but it
it's
still
both.
sucks.
Yeah, definitely.
The thing is, though...
It's not bad, it just
yeah,
could have
it's
been
not-
better.
It's not good either.
Yeah,
But they never dropped the ball with Toy Story.
no.
I
No,
think
not once, man. Not
with Toy
once.
Story 2, the ball wasn't dropped. With Toy Story 3, the ball definitely wasn't dropped. So you know there's certain quality to expect out of the Toy Story franchise.
Definitely.
So you know that you're not gonna bring everybody back together for a fourth, unless you have a story that's still gonna grip you as much as the original 3.
Yeah.
So I'm not scared for the Toy Story franchise.
Dude, I'm not scared for it
I don't
either,
know
just-
what they're gonna do with it.
Yeah.
And I think they're totally gonna surprise us with what they're gonna do with what the story is. Just because it's Toy Story, and they
Agreed.
can't just put the movie out for the sake of making money, because
Pixar doesn't really do that.
even
Disney
with
does that. Disney does that.
That's how we got Finding Dory in the first place. But
And Cars 2 and even Cars 3.
but Cars 3 kind of redeemed the franchise after
Definitely.
the blunder that was 2. But you kind of feel that they're not gonna put a fourth one out there just to make cash. Don't get me wrong, they're gonna rake in money on the fourth one.
Definitely.
Because it's Toy Story 4 and everybody wants to see another Toy Story. But the thing is,
Even me.
you're gonna expect,
Even though I don't want to.
you're gonna expect a quality product, and I think we're gonna get one. But like we said, other than like 3 movies out of the 19 that they did, every single one of the Pixar movies.
We
just
forgot to
masterpiece.
mention A Bug's Life as an honorable mention as well.
Second one Pixar made.
Yeah, right after Toy Story, they decided to go with the. I think it was DreamWorks that made Ants,
Yeah.
and it was Bugs. And
Yeah.
they decided, listen, we've got more than these toys in our up our sleeves. Let's show you what we can do, and they created A Bug's Life, which is
And
a
they
pretty
did-
solid flick in itself. Even though I'm not very partial to it, I'm not gonna. I rewatched it a few times, but it's not a movie that I gravitate to. You know, I am gonna stick to my Toy Stories, my Cars, my Monsters Inc. You know, Finding Nemo,
And whatever else Pixar decides to throw at us, because
Yeah.
you know when you get in
and
a
they're
Pixar
making
movie,
The Incredibles too. So
well,
I
The
mean,
Incredibles 2 is coming out.
Yeah,
It's already made.
I know. I'm just saying.
So you know they're usually you're gonna get a quality product. You know, there's a blunder or 2 or 3 along the way, but it's Pixar.
We can
Making
forgive
quality,
Pixar, yeah.
making quality products since '95.
Yeah, 1995, man.
Yeah,
Since Toy Story.
23 years.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's it from us for the top 10 Pixar movies. If you agree with us, why do you agree with us? If you don't, you probably don't.
It's your opinion
Yeah.
too. This is ours, and we.
They're like gases. Everybody got one.
Like
Some got
farts.
2.
But listen, yeah, that's it for the top 10 Pixar
Yeah.
movies. Maybe we'll revisit this topic in about 10 or 20 years, you know, somewhere down the line, who knows. But if you stuck around for this long, we hope you enjoyed it. Let us know what you think, what your thoughts on Pixar are, what are your top 10 Pixar movies, what's your favorite parts, and join us on Instagram, and yeah, let's have a civil discussion and just talk about movies, man, in general, or even Pixar in general, or even animated movies in general. Anything you want. We can talk about anything as long as you're not a douchebag. And yeah.
Yeah.
Until next time, Bash Bros out.